Welcome back. I am your host, Barbara Mackenzie, and this is week number 9 of the Virtues Museletter. I want to thank you for being here and want to invite all of our new listeners to join us at virtueoftheweek.substack.com, where you will get the transcription and all of the extra bonus materials that are distributed to the Substack membership every week. Well, it's been quite a week. We've been focused on the virtue of dignity. And I do have some journal reflections, some thoughts I want to consider and bring to light. But before we go there, I want to remind you that this podcast is about soul development. It's about the expression and the integration of the virtues in our everyday life, where we're mixing the spirit of the divine with the body of our consciousness. And in that process, bridging a connection into who we truly are in body, mind, and spirit synergy, and the culmination of our soul. Several things have jumped out to me this week, and before I get into them, I want to read it's a quote by James Hollis. He says, "Although a depression robs conscious life of energy, that energy is not gone. It is in the underworld, and like Orpheus, who goes down there to confront, perhaps to charm the lower powers, so we too are obligated to go down into the depression and find our soul's greatest treasure." And that really speaks to me about having a real grasp on dignity. Because what I learned this week as I was exploring dignity is how it's a foundational sense at the core of who we are. And it is intrinsically sensitive. Last week I talked about the mirror and how awareness bounces off of something internal within us. It's almost like a measurement. And if we measure up to the divine expectation, I think we feel good about ourselves. If we don't measure up, if we have guilt and shame and we don't measure up, we feel we could be doing better. It's felt within the body. It becomes a sense. I was also talking last week about how experience and emotion metabolize. And I believe that it has something to do with this mirror and the awareness and how we perceive and the energy of the message that creates in our body, that metabolism. So, although depression robs conscious life of energy, that energy is not gone. It is in the underworld. And in shamanism, there are alternate realities that exist simultaneously in parallel that we are not necessarily aware of. And the underworld is one of these layers. So it's very intriguing to me, and how I need to know myself and I need to have dignity strong within me in order to really see who I am and believe who I am and stand in my power, especially when the world doesn't necessarily reflect that that's an acceptable place. We also know now that society has become skewed and offline in so many ways when it comes to the real true meaning of life and what I believe our purpose here is, which is to build a bridge with our soul and just be good humans to one another, so that the energy of our soul is bright and shiny and clear of that mirror. Anyway, let's get to why we are here this week, which is to do a virtues paint. I am shuffling my deck of 100 virtues reflection cards, and this week we are working with the virtue of fairness. Fairness is treating each other even-handedly so that each person receives a share. With fairness, we meet everyone's needs. We listen to the views of others with openness and expect to be heard with equal respect. We don't focus on who is right, but on what is right for all concerned. Without bias, favoritism, or prejudice, we level the playing field. We are as protective of the rights of others as we are of our own. We seek not to overpower, but to empower. We are lovers of justice. The quote on the back is by Thomas Chandler Halliburton, who says, "Hear one side, and you will be in the dark. Hear both sides, and all will be clear." The practice of fairness. I treat others justly. I hear other points of view with openness. I expect respect for my perspective. I care more about doing right than being right. I believe in fair play. I have a win-win attitude. I am thankful for the gift of fairness. It is our common ground. I invite the angel of fairness to ascend upon humanity and enter our consciousness on a completely new level, not out of shame, not out of guilt, but because we are lovers of justice and because we remember who we really are. When I think about my soul, my relationship with myself, and the virtue of fairness, what stands out to me is how I show up for myself, how I treat myself, how I respect my perspective, how I care, how I focus on what is right for me, how I, with fairness, meet everyone's needs. A beautiful, beautiful sunrise or sunset, whatever it is, it's not clear. And the part that jumps out at me, I think, more than anything, first of all, I'm really trying to stay focused on soul and me, my relationship, my reflections on what's important between body, mind, and spirit. And at the same time, we have to live in the world. So I'm also trying to have a finger on both pulses, where, and when I think about this past week, I've had a few experiences where people's perspectives have challenged one another, and there's been an expectation, I think, of having to choose one or the other. And so I really appreciate this reminder that with fairness, we can meet everyone's needs, and that everyone deserves respect for their perspective. And God knows I love that we can turn the tables on caring. Imagine if everyone in society cared more about doing right than being right, cared more about win-win than what's in it for me. Imagine if we actually had a common ground. What a beautiful place it would be. Yeah, I have a bit of a Pollyanna sense of humanity, and that's what Barb's World is all about. That's when you want to look this particular podcast up on Anchor, you have to type in anchor.fm/Barb's World. And if you listen to seasons 1 and 2, you will learn that Barb's World is a perspective, and it is it's a bit of a nickname that I was given to describe my integral thinking, my whimsy, and this rose-colored glasses sort of Pollyanna sense that I had of life. And damn it, if now we're here, and I've been right all along, and I don't say that in order to, thumb my ego in the air. I say that because I have been standing in fairness. I have had my own back. I have allowed my soul to venture with me in awareness all through my life. And it's been a relationship that I've been conscious of. I've been talking about this since I was 20. If you know me from then, you'll be shaking your head because you'll recognize the truth in that. We all have the capacity. I'm nobody special, but I have allowed the wisdom of my soul to have a voice and a place and a seat at the table. And, I have not kept my soul locked away in the closet or in the attic or in the dungeon. So this idea of having my own back and focusing on not who is right, but what is right for all concerned, without having bias, meeting people where they're at. I feel like this is a real core virtue for me, and I'm excited to explore more about what it has to say to me now, this time in my life. So at this point, I think the journal questions are, back to the same. What does fairness have to teach me this week? How does it already exist in my life? What does it bring to me in terms of my relationship with myself and my reflection of that in my purpose in life? And how does that help me become who I really am? So those are some thoughts on fairness this week. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. And remember, if you're listening anywhere other than Substack, you are not getting the full treatment. So come on over to virtuesoftheweek.substack.com to subscribe and become a member and receive the Virtues Museletter in your email inbox every Monday. Have a wonder-filled week. And thanks for being here.